But Podium of Shame, and I think we might all have some special ones for this
we all
one.
got some good ones, man.
Let's start off with the man who won the Podium of Shame last time with his argument on Cam Newton. Russell Dorsey, what is your Podium of Shame this week?
The funny part is after all that last week with Cam, mine is relatively whack compared to what y'all's is. I know. I'm gonna stick with my gold story. Rick Pitino is on my in my Podium of Shame this week. When after you say you tell the media, you tell your friends, your homies in the media that I didn't do anything wrong, that always means you did something wrong. Also, come to find out in a report done by ESPN that Rick Pitino got 98% of the money that was brought in by Adidas in their contract. That contract was for $160 million, right?
Good
so 90% of $160 million is $157 million.
Whew.
And Rick Pitino's in my loser circle, not because he got caught. Because he's in my loser circle because he got caught. He had a bagman, he had a handler, and that dude dropped the ball. When you have a scapegoat, the point of it is not to come back on you. So, Rick Pitino, you're on my Podium of Shame this week, and you're in the loser circle.
Yeah, Rick effed up, just like big time. And the thing is, like, I don't see him getting an NBA opportunity after this either. Because I mean, he squandered his NBA opportunity before this Louisville job, and then just when he coached the Boston Celtics when Paul Pierce was younger, and they were terrible when he was there. And just with the whole like sex party thing that happened last year that they still don't know if Rick really knew much about. I think there's still more investigation going into that. We could learn more about that later too.
That's my thing. When you always get caught, always 2009, extortion case.
Yeah.
2015, this thing with the strippers and the escorts coming in and out of the dorm.
Yeah.
And then this, like, why are you always getting caught?
Yeah, that's a great point.
That means you got sucky people as your handlers and your babysitter, and that means you're not really keeping tabs on what's going on in your house.
Nope.
Yeah, that's very true.
Maybe you don't need to be a coach no more.
Maybe not.
All right.
You guys, I know you got a lot, so you guys go ahead. Take the rest of the time.
No, Niles, who's your Podium of Shame this week?
ESPN, I'm about to fire your ass up. So ESPN thought it'd be smart to suspend one of my favorite journalists ever, Jemele Hill, for 2 weeks. First of all, y'all can't be grounding her like she in 6th grade. This is a grown-ass woman, first of all. You're going to suspend her for 2 weeks. They said she violated their social media policy yet again because she said that basically the fans mad about what Jerry Jones has done. Jerry Jones came out and said that the players needed to stand for the anthem or they would be benched. The fans were mad about that. Some fans were mad on the other side of him taking the knee in Arizona, which it was a fake protest. I don't even know why this side is really mad at Jerry. So basically, she was telling the fans, if you want to hurt Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, don't hurt the players with the viewership ratings and not supporting them. If you want to really make an impact, hurt Jerry at the advertisements for the Cowboys and things like that. Hurt him in his pockets. That's what she suggested. She didn't call for a boycott. She didn't incite any revolution or anything like that. She was just saying what's the best possibility, because hurting the players because of a decision that the owner made is not fair, which I totally agree with. And so ESPN basically decided that was a violation of their social media policy, so they completely suspended her from her show for 2 weeks, and now she's not on the air. And so this makes me start to see ESPN for what it is, because ESPN tries to pride itself as this liberal light in sports and this progressive entity and all these kind of things. But when the rubber really meets the road, they always cower back from progressive actions. And that is what Jemele Hill is calling for. And so basically what you're saying is, ESPN, you want a black audience and you want this black viewership, you want to market to black people, but you don't really want black voices talking on your channel. You don't want black voices telling the truth. You don't want black voices really telling what's up, because that's all that she did. Because honestly, anything that she said, what did she say that wasn't true? Everything about Donald Trump, what did she say that wasn't true? And so like all these things, it really bothers me that you have such a great employee that does her job so well and she stands on the right side of things, But just when it gets a little too controversial, ESPN literally just takes the rug out from under her and doesn't support this journalist that they have that I think is just so amazing. And so my thing with ESPN is 30, 40 years from now, you make a 30 for 30 about everything that's going on in the NFL and all this stuff going on with black people in America. Are you going to tell the truth and show how you were on the wrong side of history and how you did Jamel Hill wrong? How do you make a 30 for 30 about yourself when you're the villain? I don't see how's that going to happen.
What if I told you?
Right. What if I told you when black people needed help, we didn't give a damn? Like, it's just like, it's just these large corporations, man, they're just playing, they play both sides because they're just trying to make as much money as possible. And, you know, Jerry Jones, Donald Trump, these rich white guys are almost untouchable to these certain corporations. So you have a person of color that actually expresses their voice and tells the truth, they're threatened by that. And so their first action is to suspend you. So.
What do you think about Michael Smith not doing the show?
That was cool. He elected to not do the show that night, but I know moving forward over these next couple weeks, he's going to host the show by himself, and they're going to have different people come in and do different segments and stuff like that. So, but yeah, good for Michael Smith. That was awesome. I would have been like, yeah, I'm not going to do the show if she's not doing it with me. So.
Yeah, that Niles killed the game with that. The only thing I have to add to that is you find out who people really are when you start to mess with their pocket.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to mess with not Jerry Jones and the NFL's pockets, but ESPN probably has some of those same sponsors as the NFL, as Jerry Jones, and they're like, hey yo, you need to calm your girl down over here because we pay you money. Mm-hmm. So you start to find out who people really are when you mess with their pockets. Then the last thing for me is, I can't believe we come to a place in our country where calling out something that's wrong is looked at worse than the thinking that's actually wrong. Like, calling out racism now is worse than actually being racist.
You're the real racist. Shut the hell up.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Excellent.
And it's crazy. Why does ESPN have a stricter social media policy than the White House? Somebody needs to explain that to me. This dude gets on Twitter every day and tweets the most outlandish, crazy things.
Does the White House even have a Twitter policy?
They probably don't, because they didn't have. There was no Twitter. Twitter didn't come in until the last year of George Bush's presidency. He's not the brightest light bulb, so he probably didn't even have a smartphone. And then Obama didn't tweet unless something actually happened. Donald Trump gets up and tweets about literally everything. 40 million followers, crazy.
Well, you lit the hell out of ESPN. That was great. I'm going to have a tough time competing with that, but my podium of shame, you'll love this, Russell. Mike Ditka.
Bruh.
I forget the exact quote, but he said there's no evidence of racism in the last 100 years.
Black oppression.
Yeah, essentially. And first of all, I think it is funny that at this time, right now, when Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job, and you can say that, when there have been 102 quarterbacks in the history, actually less than 102 quarterbacks in the history of time who've ever taken their teams to the Super Bowl, and he's one of them, and there's over 100 QBs, that are employed by the NFL, and he's not one of them. I think that's the definition of white privilege, actually. The fact that one of the best in the game cannot participate.
Right.
And in the last 100 years, there was definitely a Satchel Paige, but you can move up to more recent examples. Warren Moon had to go into the Canadian Football League for like 5 or 6 years, and he's one of the greatest of all time. He's Black Dan Marino, essentially. Yeah. One of the smoothest, quickest releases you've ever seen. There's no reason he should have been in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
And you go down the line and just look at your own peer group. How many black coaches were there when you were coaching Mike Ditka back in the 80s? I mean, it's just, he is just being so blind to it. And the funny thing is, Mike Ditka, he actually could have ran against Barack Obama for the Illinois Senate seat, and he would have beat Barack Obama because of his notoriety. Russell, Mike Ditka is the most popular thing in Chicago at that time, right? I mean, 2008.
even today, even after all of this, Mike Ditka might be one of the most popular, not only sports figures, but figures in Illinois, let alone Chicago.
Well,
and the fact that he said that there hasn't been oppression in the United States in over 100 years. If he went to the south side of Chicago, the west side of the city which he coached in, there's oppression there.
So smart,
It's pure ignorance, and I don't think there's much comment needs to be said on this. This is the same guy who would fall asleep on air, a contributor for ESPN. So I'm not surprised by this. Ignorance is always everywhere, and I'm not surprised.
You make such a good point. He coaches the Chicago Bears. 760 people a year die from gun violence, and there's a little bit of racism involved, just a little bit. But
and it's crazy. It's just like the sad thing is, are we really surprised that Mike Dick is a racist? Like, are we really surprised at that? Like, come on, like, are we really surprised?
I just think it's the ironic thing is,
and it hurts to say, like, I wasn't even surprised, like, that this dude thinks this way. And he said some things before. I want to give a couple facts on Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka, you were 29 years old when Martin Luther King was assassinated. No oppression there. Emmett Till and Mike Ditka would be the same age right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's how you old as hell, boy. You and Emmett Till would be the same age right now if Emmett Till had been murdered by 3 white men for allegedly whistling at a white woman. Mike Ditka, I'm pretty sure you whistled at a few white women in your time. You're still alive. Also, when Mike Ditka coached, not when he coached in Chicago, when he was in Chicago, Martin Luther King was giving a speech where he was talking about how he wanted to talk about redistribution of wealth and basically desegregation of the housing in Chicago. This is a big city. Basically, the people in Chicago did not like that he said this, and white people started rioting during Martin Luther King's speech in Chicago. They ran him out. They had to get Martin Luther King to safety. So I'm just kind of like, all these things just in the little environments and pockets that you've actually been in have happened. And so basically, this is what Mike Ditka is really saying, and this is what a lot of white people that complain about what's going on, what they're really trying to say is, I'm tired of hearing about this. I'm tired of hearing about this. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about it. I just want to watch my football. I don't want these black people to shut up. That's what Mike Ditka really wanted to say. Yeah. And so for this, just having an outlandish statement like there's been no oppression in the last 100 years. You know how many things have happened since 1917?
Yeah.
Come on.
But I just think it is.
You know how many things have happened since October 10th, 2017?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I just think it's so ironic. He could have stopped Barack Obama from being president, and yet he didn't run for the Illinois Senate, and now look what happened. So I guess, you know, it is pretty funny looking at what it is. But I got to give you credit, Niles. You roasted Mike Ditka and Jamel Hill better than pretty much anybody today. So I'll give you the choice. Who's the Podium of Shame gold medal, since you roasted the both out of it?
I would say ESPN is the biggest fool of all right now, because they look really stupid right now.
All right, so ESPN, Ditka, then Rick Pitino. Yeah, that's a great Podium of Shame. So much shame on that podium.
So much shame.
There's a ton.
And it sucks because, like, Mike Ditka's in one of my favorite movies, Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell. That is a great, funny movie, and Mike Ditka is, like, really funny in that movie.
I'm one of the Italians you pass it to.
Exactly, that was a great movie, but it ruins it now. That's one. Can we just talk about this for a second? Like, that is one thing I hate with, like, entertainment and art and all this kind of thing. Like, if you're black and you're a fan of, like, a white celebrity, like, there's always this chance, like, they might be racist.
Whoa.
And then, like, you can't enjoy their stuff. Like, I can't watch Mel Gibson movies anymore.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
I can't watch Kicking and Screaming anymore. There's so many, like, white people, like, just things I can't enjoy anymore because I'm just like, if I saw you, you'd call me a nigger. Like, I don't like you anymore. Like, it's just...
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, Mike Ditka, you ruined Kicking and Screaming for me, so... In fact, let's put Mike Ditka gold. He just ruined the Will Ferrell... He ruined the Will Ferrell comedy for me. Like, that's... Racism's one thing, but you just ruined the Will Ferrell comedy.
A last-minute upset.
I'll say one last thing. Will Ferrell probably killed the Will Ferrell movie.
That's blasphemy.
Thank you. Thank you. As a kid, we're two comedians, but we have differing opinions. I really agree with
Will
Russell
Ferrell's
on
a
that.
legend. Y'all better stop.
He just says what's happening. That's all I go. He just says what's happening on screen. Oh, there's a baby! Whoa! It's like,
hey, Will, I need a job. So they talking that noise. I think you're a legend. You're amazing. Hire me.
you hire this suck up.
Right.
He could be your fluffer.
I would kiss ass.
Yeah, but anyways, this has been an amazing podium.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
I honestly, I have so much fun talking about this stuff. I've been waiting my whole life to talk about this.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Russell, you're a goddamn genius. Niles. But anyways, Russell, you're really smart and really, really amazing, you know. And I just like, it's really cool to get to know some of your opinions. Niles, thank you very much. You guys have anything to end with?
I think
See you guys next week.
yeah, see you
Hell
guys
yeah.
next week.
See you next Thursday.
Episode 4, right?
See, this is episode 3, but yes.
Next episode is what?
And next
official.
Y'all know I dropped out of college, so numbers be hurting a nigga head.
But yeah, see you next Thursday, guys. Thank you guys so much. See you next week on the podium.